Assalamu alaikum. This is Megan Wyatt answering your question here at About Islam. So first of all, I am glad to hear that you've said that your husband does a lot of things to try to make you happy and that he's good, but there is a situation of him raising his hand to you a number of occasions. I'm glad to hear that you're able to fight back in the sense that you are not allowing yourself to be abused, that you believe you should not be abused, and that you have a very strong, backbone to stand up for yourself and your rights. I do want to express caution that this is an area that at some point in time could get worse. Because I don't have the details of what you've already dealt with, I want to make sure that you are safe. So if there is anyone that you can talk to that could be a part of a conversation with you as a couple regarding his anger and regarding him raising his hand, I would highly advise that. Somebody that can address his anger, address his inability to manage his anger, because your safety and your children's safety is of utmost importance to me. And him ever raising his hand to you, or ever laying a hand on you, or ever threatening you in any way is completely, un-Islamic and haram. Physical violence, physical abuse of any kind should never be tolerated and allowed. So I don't know your situation, but I will say I'm happy to know you're standing up for yourself, but I want you to consider, is there anything else further you can do so that this ends permanently, that there's a stop to the violence, whether that's involving your father, a brother, an uncle, an imam, the mothers from both sides, at some point having a conversation to really address this so that it can go away once and for all. The second piece is you've mentioned that you want to raise your kids Islamically and you want your husband to go with you to the madrasa and for you guys to pray together and for him to take, a leadership role in your kids' recitation of the Quran and their tarbiyah basically. Here's the thing. You right now are the person who is blessed to have this level of Islamic awareness for your children. You are on top of their Quran work, of making sure they're going to the masjid, making sure they're learning their deen. This is very important to you. Praying tahajjud or getting up, all of these things are really important to you. This reflects your current level of spirituality, the level of your iman, and the level of dedication that you have right now to Islam and to your children. Unfortunately, you can't force that same level on someone else. And so, yes, ideally speaking, your husband is at the forefront of guiding your family Islamically, encouraging the kids with the Quran, listening to them and taking you guys to the masjid and waking you up for prayer. That is the ideal goal for a Muslim husband. But that isn't who he is right now. And so rather than battling with him of who he is not, you may want to reconsider where you spend your energy and instead turn it to the children and to yourself and your ibadah. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you can do. Focus on what your kids can do. And inshallah, over time, he'll join in. He'll participate. He'll see what you're doing and how great it is. You can invite him to pray with you. If he says no, okay, you invite him to come with you to the masjid. He comes, he doesn't come. Keep inviting him. You're in a blessed position. You have strength. You have a vision. You have a very strong purpose for your life, alhamdulillah, and that is awesome. He isn't at the same level as you. And so you have this fantasy of maybe running off and living alone and raising your kids. And I do not know whether or not that is the right thing for you to pursue, because you know the intricacies of your marriage, your husband's character, what he brings to the table, what he brings to the, to the whole family environment. You have to answer that question for yourself in terms of, emotional safety, physical safety, and spiritual safety. But again, putting aside just for a minute the physical violence issues, you have to accept that someone else's spiritual level isn't necessarily the same as yours. They may need time to grow into the person you would like them to become. And you can make that space for him. You can be the wife who does all of these things and let him experience it from afar, let him experience it through the kids, and come to it on his own terms. What you can't do, though, is make space anymore for there to be any kind of violence, for you or for the kids to be exposed to. And so I would say, leave aside right now the issue of what he's doing religiously, and instead focus on involving whoever you can to help get some, counseling or intervention within the family, so him to understand that, hitting you or raising his hand to you cannot ever happen again. That is not acceptable at all. That ultimately he could lose you and his children as a result. Get people involved. And if you focus on this piece, and he has to work hard at changing himself from that level, inshallah, I hope the other parts will come. The other side is you can simply invite him again, make this your dawah to your husband, to the, your children's father. Regardless of what you do, you want him to become a better Muslim because he's the father of your kids. So if you can inspire him gently, lovingly, with mercy, just by invitation, by role modeling, things of this nature, inshallah, that some of that khair will rub off on him, and he'll also want to slowly become more involved. So I hope this just gives you a place to begin, that again, your safety is most important, and maybe letting go for now the idea of what he should be doing in the family and focusing on what he is able to do, but definitely putting that standard for taking care of you in terms of the physical sense. So if you have any further questions or follow-up regarding some of these details, please reach out to us again. Assalamu alaikum.